888-866-9990. Right now, we're going to get to Inside Oakwood with Dr. Leslie Pollard. And good morning to you, Dr. Pollard.
Hey,
it's time
good morning.
for Inside Oakwood with
Good
Dr.
morning,
Leslie
Donna.
Pollard. Good morning. Good morning to you. How's it going today?
It's going really great today.
Yes.
It's a beautiful day here in the Tennessee Valley.
It sure is a beautiful day. Nice sunshine out there, something we haven't experienced in a little while, right? It's been a little while.
It's been rainy, but we're glad for the sunshine.
Right, yes we are. So it's a beautiful Motivation Monday, and we're glad to have you here. Tell us about your guest today and what we're going to be talking about.
Well, my guest today, of course, I've got two very special guests today. I've got Dr. John Anderson, who's the Associate Provost for Graduate Education and Online Learning. And then I've got Dr. Prudence Pollard, our Vice President for the Division of Research and Faculty Development.
Okay.
And they are here today because both of them had a very critical, future-focused task. They led a committee. Dr. Anderson was chair. Dr. Prudence was vice chair. Called the Online Futures Task Force. The idea being that as we think about where Oakwood is going in the future, how do we prepare for any contingency that we may face in the light of the coronavirus?
Right.
So how do we prepare? How do we prepare? And so right now we've got basically three streams of planning at the university. One is, of course, for all of our students to be able to return and to do so safely on a campus that is safe and that is, of course, COVID virus, free, of course, free, absolutely, but also protected and all the social distancing protocol, all the health protocols advocated by CDC.
Okay.
So that's plan one. Plan two is to have a portion of the student body return.
Okay, in August?
Yeah, in August, yeah. And hybrid delivery of education. So to match that with remote learning. And then the third would be, and this would be probably the nuclear option, that we just would not open at all.
That's still on the table?
Well, it has to be.
Okay.
It has to be because you just don't know. And for many schools, it is.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to make a final decision probably by June 30 about that. But right now, the decision is firm.
Okay.
We're going to be open. We're going to do all the protocols that need to be done in place. How that will look, we're still sorting all of those things out. So this committee, led by Dr. Anderson and Dr. Prudence Pollard, this committee had a very critical mission task. How do we face the future, given some of these contingencies?
Right.
Now, I've said, if people have a low tolerance for ambiguity, then this is a terrible time for them. They're having nightmares.
You're right.
But if you're energized by new opportunities and new possibilities, and the ambiguity energizes you, then you're really excited about right now. So for me, I'm kind of excited because we're expanding in ways that we never would have before.
Right.
So these are our colleagues. They are here, and in the midst of the coronavirus and all of the other things that are happening in our country, Oakwood is still facing its future unafraid.
Right. So when we think about the future, that seems daunting for me because everything is so unknown. So how do you really plan for something that's unknown?
Well, you think about, and we'll come to this. First of all, what I think about is, I think about what are all of the options available to us. And I've basically mentioned the last three options. What are the options that are available? And then how do we maximize our planning to take advantage of each one of these options? And that's what our task force has been working on, our responsiveness task force. Everything from when we first started this journey with teleworking and all of that, up to now where we have to delivering education remotely, to now getting ready to open the institution and to look at all of the dominoes involved in reopening the institution.
Wow.
So these colleagues, Prudence and John, have been instrumental in helping us do everything from getting the students ready, getting the faculty ready, getting the institution ready for the new future that we didn't ask for, but that we must face.
We must face it and got to go forward with it. Yeah.
Right, absolutely.
So Dr. Pollard, Prudence Pollard, tell us about what the findings were in the committee. And Dr. Anderson is on the phone as well. Can you hear us, Dr. Anderson? Let's get a test on that.
Yes, I can.
All right, you're hearing everybody fine?
May I allow Dr. Anderson to go first by talking about the structure and the goals of the Futures Committee?
Did you hear that, Dr. Anderson?
Hey, Doctor.
Yes.
Yeah,
Good
Dr.
morning,
John.
everyone. It's a pleasure
Welcome,
to be
John.
here
Welcome.
to share information with you about our online futures planning process. As Dr. Pollard, President Pollard mentioned, he commissioned a committee to help prepare the institution for the unknown. We're not sure exactly what's going to happen in August, but we want to be ready for whatever we may face. And so the committee was established and divided up into 4 subcommittees. We have a subcommittee on curriculum, a subcommittee on faculty development, a subcommittee on student support, and then a budget subcommittee. Each of these committees consisted of faculty and staff members. The curriculum committee focused specifically on ensuring that our courses were ready for online or remote delivery as well as face-to-face delivery. Every course that we have in our schedule for fall 2020. The faculty development committee focused on preparing the faculty for working in this dynamic online environment. As you know, in March, when we had to transition to remote learning, we had about 1 week to prepare. And so during that period of time, we had training for our faculty, but I think it was like a 2-day training session that we've been training for online learning for the past 2 or 3 years. And we have a certification program for our faculty. And so a large number of our faculty have successfully navigated that program, but we wanted to provide additional training. And so we had a committee that focused on that. And then we had a committee to focus on what support services are needed for our students. But just like our faculty had to embrace the online learning environment, our students, who some of them had never taken an online course before, they had to also make that change. And so it was traumatic for some of them. And so we want to look at what we can do to support our students moving into this environment. And then, of course, everything takes a budget. So we have a budget committee to put together a budget to make sure that the resources were there to facilitate all of this. So that is the structure. Dr. Prudence, you want to add to it?
I think that is so comprehensive, Dr. Anderson. So as you heard from Dr. Anderson, we covered all facets. The student experience, the faculty experience. We also addressed the content, the curriculum. And, what will the curriculum look like when it transitions to online, whether it's fully online or in a hybrid setting. And so the faculty development part, as Dr. Anderson said, has been in effect in a very robust way since 2018. In the spring of 2018, responding to a directive from our president that we must be prepared for online delivery of learning, not for COVID-19. We didn't know about COVID-19, but for online, because that is an opportunity that Oakwood University wanted to take advantage of. So we started our first robust, intensive certification program in the spring of 2018. We so faculty were certified there. Some who did not go through the certification program were definitely exposed to best practices. When we talk about online delivery of learning, we have to meet the quality standards for Oakwood University. And so just looking from that point of view, from 2018 to today, what we see today in our faculty being prepared for online is that we launched what we call a rapid certification program for all faculty. In fact, I think our attendance of not just regular faculty, but also our contract instructors were on board in this rapid 3 days, 3 full days, and it is now online. We had about 175 individuals in an online training looking at best practices for delivery of learning. Now, that, Donna, is in addition to what we run regularly. We have a regular 8-week certification program that our faculty go through. So we have multiple opportunities for delivery of learning. That 8-week certification meets all of the best standards. The Online Learning Consortium, Quality Matters. These are some of the trailblazers in the world of online learning. And so our faculty are definitely prepared. Our curriculum, we have standards there as well in terms of what it should look like when it is transitioned to the online learning management system. And we have different layers. In fact, we have 3 layers of verification to ensure that a course is properly placed into the online onto the online platform.
Wow. So this is so detailed. Like you said, you started early before COVID-19, so you have a head start. Tell me, but I hear you saying online and then hybrid. Tell us what the difference is when you talk about that.
Okay, so we were challenged to look at different opportunities for delivery of learning because the unknown, what you started with, the unknown, we don't know what will happen in August. What we do know is Oakwood will continue to be a university delivering first-class learning. Right now, we're in summer session. And our summer session is online. So Oakwood University is operating right now. So in August, when we go to full delivery of learning, we have different opportunities. Can be fully face-to-face. It can be fully online. And it can be a hybrid of the two.
Wow.
The two.
Wow.
Okay, gotcha now. Gotcha.
I think, Donna, what I think I hear John saying, as well as Prudence, is if parents are listening, there's no compromise in quality. Our goal is that there not be any compromise in the quality of education that's delivered to our students, because that's really important. We can hobble along in something semi-online, but these verifications make it possible for us to deliver so that what we do in the classroom is on ground is also done online.
Right.
I think that's important. I think that's really important.
I think I got it. So tell me this, though. When you all came up, or as you began to develop your program, were there any other existing successful models out there that you looked at and tried to pull from, or did you just come up with Dr. Anderson on the phone, or did you just come up with something original and custom for Oakwood? Dr. Anderson?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that question?
I said, when you all were planning and developing, did you look at any existing models for online or online and hybrid learning, or did you just come up with a custom program for Oakwood University as far as how the program is going to look online and things like that?
Well, that's a very good question. First, we drew on our own experience because we have been engaged in hybrid learning for years with our adult and continuing education program. And so we learned a lot with that program. And then we had other committees that had been formed also addressing different aspects of the institution's response to the coronavirus pandemic. And those with the campus, the entire campus, models that other institutions were using. So we pulled all that together to provide direction for our faculty in the transitioning of our courses.
Okay, and we also, as everybody knows, we did go through this last semester online, and there was some research that was done and some surveys. Do you have the results of that? And
Oh, yes.
okay,
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
a little
yes.
bit
In fact, it's very multidimensional in terms of our approach to understanding the student experience, but also the instructor's experience, the faculty member's experience. And so we launched a brief survey right in the middle of the end of the semester, the part that was online.
Yeah.
About 2 weeks in, we surveyed our faculty.
Okay.
14 questions representing 3 different factors. I won't go into that part for our listeners. I don't think they would be as interested in that. But we surveyed our faculty. We wanted to know their level of satisfaction with this rapid transition to online. We wanted to know what was working for them and what was not working. Okay? We also surveyed our students. The same questions, but of course, with the student in mind, framed to the student. Same questions.
Right.
What we discovered is that our students had to adjust.
Okay.
They had to adjust to being at home in maybe their old room, on maybe a shared computer, and now engaged in learning without their peers. Without their peers. We discovered on the faculty side a huge discovery. They missed face-to-face contact with their students.
Yeah.
And so they were not satisfied because they didn't have it. See, they had an experience before. These were not people who were who began their careers just teaching online. They did not sign up for a job to
They
teach
didn't sign up for
online,
this.
right?
Yes, I've heard that a
So
lot.
it's understandable when you go through a rapid transition.
Yeah.
You feel something about that difference, and that is what they felt.
Okay.
They want to be face to face with their students.
And that was the really big takeaway from the survey. Wow.
And so we even the curriculum, as Dr. Anderson described, how we were getting feedback, constant feedback. We then ensured that the curriculum, the courses, when they're online, that there's face-to-face opportunity. Yeah. For example, faculty who are teaching, some will choose to use, it's a brand name, I hope it's okay to use it, Zoom conference rooms, okay? Or Teams, the Microsoft product, because we have all of these opportunities for our faculty.
Right.
So they can have face-to-face, their office hours, they post their office hours, they can talk to their students.
Wow. Do you think this will expand your pool of faculty now?
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
you can bring in faculty.
Absolutely, from anywhere in the world.
Right.
Absolutely.
And they
so
can teach
you
from
saw me
anywhere.
smile. That's why you asked the question.
Yes.
Because in every crisis there's an opportunity. And the United Negro College Fund has the saying, Dr. Anderson, that a mind is a terrible thing to waste. But someone did a paraphrase and they said a crisis is a terrible thing to waste.
That's true.
So here is the opportunity that's presented to us. In the midst of the crisis, we have this opportunity.
Okay.
The opportunity is to expand the footprint through the use of this technology in ways that we would not have done had we not been pushed by the virus. In ways that we would not have done had we not been pushed by the virus. And so while it's regrettable and it's different, and as has been mentioned by most of my colleagues, it's a transition. On the other hand, it is also an opportunity into a brave new world. Now, the downside of that is everybody's pushed out into that world.
Right. Right.
So now the other market forces will have to come into play, and we'll have to make sure that the branding of Oakwood is an attractive brand that will bring persons from all over the world who wanted to study but could not do it residentially.
Wow.
So
we're
there
talking
we
about
are. So we've got a
international
great
students
opportunity
as well. So
and international students, but
Yeah.
also in international cohorts
Right.
of international students in distant places. So some of this creates opportunity for us in ways that we would never have
Right.
anticipated.
wow.
And of course there's a spiritual implication to this, and that is that God has pushed many of our people out into cyberspace, and they're out sharing their messages now. So there are these opportunities that are very important. But I have a question for Dr. Anderson. And as a marketing person over our School of Business, I'd like to hear his thoughts, because many times we think about the Oakwood experience, and traditionally it's been constructed as an on-campus, in-residence experience. But because we have parents who will be away and students who some will be away, what does he think about the notion that the Oakwood experience can be communicated in an online environment, and how does he see his faculty working with that kind of possibility?
Dr. Anderson?
Well, thank you, Dr. Pollard. The concept of the Oakwood experience, we have explored that for our online programs. We rolled out 2 graduate online programs this academic year, the MBA in Leadership and the MPH in Nutrition and Wellness. And in designing those programs, we wrestle with that question of how do we deliver the Oakwood experience online. And so we found that, of course, you have to break down what you mean by that Oakwood experience. And so one component of that Oakwood experience is biblical foundations integrated into our coursework. And so in our totally online courses, 100% online courses, we have designed and ensured that biblical foundations are integrated throughout that curriculum. Another aspect of that Oakwood experience are the relationships that you establish, and relationships with faculty, relationships with peers. And so with this, the medium of social media, you can facilitate those relationships. In our courses, we have forums, and in those forums, students are sharing, and they are commenting on one another's work. And if you go and just look at their posts, you can see the messages of affirmation that they share with one another. And so you have unlimited possibilities. Just let your imagination flow. And we'll find that, especially for the younger students, that generation, they're already accustomed to living in a social media environment. And so we can build those relationships. We can share our faith, and so we can deliver what we call that Oakwood experience, and possibly even more intentional than we've done before in the face-to-face. And so we simply have to get the message out there, Dr. Pollard, how we're doing it and the impact that it's having.
Thank you, Doc. I think you're right, and I think when we had to make the transition, one of the elements supplied by the Office of Spiritual Life was chapel and all of those kinds of spiritual moments, those spiritual encounters that we structure for our student body. Those were delivered online. Some of us who've been around Oakwood a while know about Power Hour. Well, that was delivered online. Chapel every Thursday from 10 to 11. That was delivered online with speakers and music and testimonies and all of those things. So I think I agree with Dr. Anderson wholeheartedly. We're finding ways to stretch ourselves creatively to deliver the experience. And he's right. We have to first, though, identify the elements of the experience. And that's a part of the work that we've been doing with our Biblical Foundations work as well, looking at how does our spiritual mission, our faith mission, interface with what happens in the classroom experience.
Right.
Yeah.
So I got a question. It's going to be a tough one, but you all are always ahead of everything because you're already ahead of this. So we know that face-to-face and that physical touch is never going to be less than doing something online, no matter how well you get it together.
I think I know what your question is.
There are going to be some people out there who don't want to pay for it. Do you think that you'll be able to balance that, to level it off where you can balance those who just decide, okay, well, I'm going to find some state school to go to that I can go face-to-face as opposed to going to Oakwood if we have to do the hybrid or the online? Have y'all thought about that?
Yeah, we have, of course.
And what are you going to do?
Of course we have. First of all, going to another school. So Dr. Anderson pointed to it, and Dr. Prudence has as well. The Oakwood experience is a value-added experience.
Right.
And the question is, do you really wish for faculties and for families, how will you simulate that experience in the XYZ community college? Well, you won't.
Right.
You won't.
Right.
So because that's not their stock in trade. So part of what we have to communicate and get the message out to is that a part of the Oakwood experience is the value-added experience that lasts not just for 4 years, but for 40 years and then forever. So I think that's where we have to do the work, the conversation, and the dialoguing, and to say that the Oakwood experience, even in the online environment, is still a transformational experience. And we do have those testimonies from persons who are studying. Take the LEAP program. The biggest advocates for many of the biggest advocates for Oakwood University and what we do are the people in the LEAP program who we helped get to their degree. And sometimes, in many instances, they had a hybrid. They had face-to-face and they had online. But I think it's just a matter, it's as simple as us communicating that, but it's also as challenging as trying to communicate that.
Okay.
And then when we talk about pricing, because that's one of the things that parents, of course, there are schools that say, because there's no difference in what we deliver, the pricing's the same. Now you have to decide whether you want this or not. Because we know that the quality standards are the same. And there are universities that do it that way, that say we don't make a distinction between online and on ground because we're offering the same education.
And you feel confident.
So it just depends on how you want to approach that.
Okay.
And if I may say, for a potential student who may be listening right now, or a parent who's listening, Oakwood University has always priced tuition separate from room and board.
Okay. That's good.
See, we have students who live on campus, and we have students who live off campus. We don't charge our off-campus students a residential fee as if they lived in the dorms. So we will continue to do that. What a student pays for is for their education and the support services that go along with that. So there are academic supports when they need additional tutoring. We provide that, whether it's face-to-face or online. So as the president said, and by the way, today is the president's birthday. I think that's not on me.
I had something all planned out. You messed it up, man. Okay.
Happy birthday, Mr. President.
Thank you.
We're going to take a moment to say happy birthday to Dr. Pollard. Happy birthday.
I'm grateful.
Can you
Thank
tell
you.
us what birthday it is before we get...
Yes, it's my birthday.
Well,
I'm so proud. Today is my birthday.
Okay. Dr. Pollard. That's okay.
That means he's over 25.
Yeah. We know.
Yeah.
Well, happy birthday.
Well, thank you very much. I'm grateful to be alive. I'm grateful.
Right.
Our team, though, and I do want to call attention to our team. Our team has done phenomenal work, and I compliment them, and I mean it sincerely from the bottom of my heart. All of our leaders, from Dr. Anderson, Dr. Wilson, Dr. Prudence, and you see, once you start calling names, now you gotta, name after name after name after name.
Right.
But they have done phenomenal work to transition our institution to this new environment. And they should be thanked for that. And I do thank them, and we thank them on behalf of all of the constituents, because this is tireless work. And it never, because of the new technology and Zoom environment, it just never goes away. It just never, ever goes away. So we're constantly working, and that work is going to make a difference come fall.
All righty. Well, thank you so much for being with us for Inside Oakwood with Dr. Leslie Pollard and a special guest. Any final words we want to say? We didn't get your word in today,
Well,
but that's
yeah,
okay.
but I'll give it to you in one quote. Micah 6, verse 6, in light of everything that's happened, I'm saying to young people today that let no one tell you that your faith is incompatible with seeking justice. Because the scripture has already told us in Micah 6:8 that he has showed you, O man and woman, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? But to do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly
right.
with your God.
That's
And if ever there was a day when the ministry of justice was needed, it is today. And our condolences, of course, as with the thousands of others, to the Floyd family over the needless loss of his life.
Right. Thank you so much, Dr. Pollard and Dr. Prudence Pollard and Dr. Anderson for being with us for Inside Oakwood, this special edition. We'll see you on Thursday with another special edition of Inside Oakwood University. We'll be right back.
WJOU Huntsville, 90.1 FM, a broadcast service of Oakwood University.